Alright, I don't know if the audio is going to be weird because I'm up on a roof and there's a really loud fan behind me. So, fingers crossed. It's fine, but I'm definitely not going to record this twice, so I have a can of cider with me. There's like a further level up here, but I'm a bit worried that they'll shut the gate and I won't be able to get out of the car park. So I'm not going to venture up. For today's video, I thought, because I've heard, at least 5 times in my life that I have a roster, which the last time I had sex was like, well, excluding bits, which was, God, how long ago now? Maybe 5 months ago? At this point, it's been like a year and a half since I've done the deed. I just don't think I could consider my love life to be a roster. But then, doesn't everyone have that one, low-key? So I have a list of 20 names that I would consider talking stages that I do circle back to at least. For some of them, like once every 3 years. Some of them once per month. At least in my mind. And some of them I wank to the idea of more often than I'd like to admit. Jeez. Right. So what I'm going to do for today's video is something that I always fear other people doing, really. But to think about it on like a psychological, sociological level, I think we do become, to some extent, what we fear. So we try to embody those roles, you know, or those ideals. Not always, though. But... Right, I have my 5-pound cigarettes. And I have the list, and then I have questions. This is definitely going to be a long video, and I'm not going to say anyone's name. But I feel like this is good therapy for me. And for some reason, I don't know what it is about me. Maybe I am just a hardcore exhibitionist through and through. But there's just something about putting it on camera that makes it feel like I'm doing it properly. Maybe if I did it all on my own for myself, I'd be like a crybaby throughout. Although one of my co-workers called me a crybaby the other day, and I wasn't even a crybaby, I wasn't even upset. It was just like... But then again, we did have like a minor fallout over something, like very small. But whenever I'm at work with men, and I have some sort of like an altercation with them, I'm always just like, there's no way to cut that out, you know? Like, you have to interact with the person. and you might not want to like flirt with them. But then if you're constantly like butting heads like your brother and sister, it also ends up being weird. But I call myself a crybaby, I guess, a little bit. Like a single kind of tear rolling down the cheek of a cowboy, kind of a crybaby. But like often, I don't know. Anyways, the questions are a bit dumb, but I didn't know what to like think of. So for the first one, I'm going back to front. What color are they? I think this person's like a dark green. This guy. It's only guys. I'm not going to bother with the lesbian league. I'm doing the men one. What's my favorite thing about them? Oh, I thought of the answer to this earlier. They're very kind of assured, reserved. I wouldn't say they're shy, but they kind of were when I knew them. But they weren't shy, weak. Kind of, if that makes sense. They were just more reserved. But they were a good person for me. To have like a super high energy, kind of low energy dynamic with. It's like, what's their secret weapon? And they were really smart, and they did fencing. I don't know why I'm using gender neutral pronouns in this, but for some reason, because I'm speaking about so many people, I just feel like doing that. So there was a degree of like class to them, but they're a Beatles fan as well, so they were a bit fuzzy, and I hate the Beatles. I can't stand them. You would be surprised, but I hate the Beatles. But this person really liked the Beatles. So it was like a mix of class and kind of that relaxed thing, you know? Do you like, love, trust them, or find them attractive? I think this one I trust more than I like or love. But then which one of those emotions is the most complicated one to really pin down on the board? Which one's the most important one? I do find them attractive, but I wouldn't say that they're like the beauty standard or the male kind of. They're like a niche twist on it, you know? Slightly niche twist on it. And I don't mean that in a like they were, but they weren't like super tall, for example, you know? And this is a question I was proud of. Could I do old couple with them, or could I do young couple with them? Well, since we're not together, we never fucked, we never kissed. I think with that one, I can't see kids. I can't really see family. But weirdly, I feel like I could do retirement. But I don't think I could ever do 20s or 30s, you know? 40s even. We're like an old couple. Could I call them right now? And would they help if I needed it? I don't have their number. I guess I could find a way if I really had to call them. But it would be so awkward, it would be so strange, and I think I could get the point across and get their help, maybe, but it would be a stretch. Like, it would be a stretch. It would have to be like a them specific emergency, you know? They're not like a point of call for me. Is that the word? In a crisis. But I imagine them being good. Rate the connection out of 100. 65. And I don't remember our first or last interaction. And this, I think, is an important one. Sometimes when I'm stuck, because I'm single and I'm always in my imagination, I think about like what elemental scene that person represents to me. And how surreal was liking them? How nuts did I go? I think with this one, it's like maybe like a C-tier dry savanna kind of a setting with a cactus. But it's not like, it's not expansive, you know? It's not, and I don't think I went crazy over this one. I don't have 7 seasons worth of a TV show in my mind. I don't have the multiverse mapped out. I don't have the, if I was at this is what I'd be doing with them kind of a, but that's not to say that I couldn't do that for them. I guess I just don't get as delusional about this one. I think we could do monogamy, but I feel like it would make the relationship worse. And it would make it maybe feel forced. Could I do, I already said I couldn't really do kids or family with them, I don't think. There was some other thing I'm missing. But maybe I'll circle back to it because I'm already 12 minutes in. Fucking hell. Okay, candidate 2. Candidate? God. What colour are they? Like a pale grey or a beige? My favourite thing about them, they're quite charming and cheeky, but very soft and light, but still quite masculine, like heavy, you know? Their secret weapon, really, really smart, but not obnoxious about it. There isn't like that much bravado, but then I was never really in class with this person, so maybe they were flashier than I know. I think I don't trust this one. I do like them, but it feels less significant for some reason. And I really love them. But the liking might be more important than the loving. And I do find them attractive. There are quirks to them that really, like, get me in my feelers. Could I call them right now? Would they help if I needed it? I think I could actually call them. And they would help, but it would feel like a scene from, again, not to call back on EastEnders trailers, but it would feel like the world was actually ending. And I don't have their number saved, no. We could have done being together in school, we could have done being together in uni, and we could have done being a couple. I could have maybe even had a baby with them in school. But then we would have been so... like, all we would have been is the relationship, if that makes sense. But I could see it. Out of 100, maybe like an 89 or like a 54. I don't know. First, last interaction, I remember both. But they weren't necessarily like the start and the end were the highlight. Or like the wowzer moment, if that makes sense. I need to stop saying if that makes sense. I keep saying that all of the time. I go through phases of having like a repeated phrase that I bulk up everything with, and I need to stop doing that. What element is the relationship? Like an unkept farm with slight frost on it, but like you can still see the orange on the leaves. How surreal was liking that. I think I forget about this one a lot because you don't want to circle back to the big things that you didn't pursue too often. It kind of drags you out of the narrative, doesn't it? Out of the plot. Could we do monogamy? I think that's the only thing we could do, to be honest. As soon as it's anything else, it's this. And it's not sharp, it's like kind of flakes of wood being stuck in your skin. You can handle it, you can feel your blood flow, you can feel the friction burn, and it's nice. But it's not, it's weird. And it's very insecure when it's this way, you know? Could I have kids with them? Yeah. But I haven't imagined them too much. Okay, next one. What colour are they? I think this one's like a half rusted, like fire truck red. I don't know why I'm going to go for that. Favourite thing about them? I think they're steely and stable confidence that I constantly want to test, but it never goes far. I think that's what I like. It's like a metal rope that you can only pull a tiny bit. like one of those wire, kind of like twisted wire ones. Their secret weapon. I think they know exactly what I don't like. Like, exactly. Like, the version that would they can do the version that would instantly make me leave them. But I wouldn't, like, I would ditch the scene. That proof of, like, what would it take to make a person ditch the scene. They know what to do. And I guess I'm still tangled in it, even when it's like that. If that makes sense. I'm struggling to verbalize, so I'm not saying the person listening couldn't understand. It's more, I'm wondering whether I'm expressing it well. I like them, I don't love them, and maybe I don't even trust them, but I do find them attractive. But do I romanticize their appearance? Maybe not. Could I call them right now? Would they help if I needed it? No. And with this one, my delusions with them is those moments of, like, not being an Effie from Skins, because I could never quite do that. I'm too actually present to ever really derail in that way, even when I'm crying. It's not that it's a performance art, it's that I actually have a very, tight kind of core. And I did get in a lot of, like, drinking incidents in school. Well, not a lot, like 3, about as many as you could get away with in my school. So I wasn't, like, drinking in class, I wasn't smoking in the back. I picked up smoking in my 20s. But I think later in life, this is the type of person where, crashed out somewhere, if I got picked up by them and carried home, that would be maybe the ideal person to have do that. Because there'd always be a degree of criticality in it. But not safety per se, but just maybe elation. But I don't test that all of the time. I don't constantly put myself in danger just to see, you know? But it wouldn't even be a white knight moment. But there is something about that visual that hits like crack for me when I think about that person. Well, where did I get? Rate the connection out of 100. God. Maybe like a 41 to like a... No, but we're better when we're lower. We're one of those ones where when we're always in conflict. Do I remember my first and last interaction? I do remember. And both were kind of... They weren't cold, but they were steely. They were stiff. But also... maybe the most us that we ever get. I don't know. It's a tricky one with that person. I could do like... I could maybe cheat with this person in my 50s. But if I met them now, I think that would be weird. Or in my 40s or something. What element is the relationship? Maybe like an icy stream. And we're both kind of in it. I don't know if I thought about that one enough. Monogamy. Could I do monogamy with this person? I think if I did, we'd be a difficult pairing to split up, and I'm not sure I'd want to test it as much as I do other ones, if that makes. Could I do kids with them? No. With kids, we'd argue maybe 50 times more than we already do. Right, next one. Okay, this one, what colour are they? This one's gone through a lot of changes, and then so have I, since we met. Maybe like a burnt gold, like a bronze, but like a rich one. Or like a plummy purple. What's my favourite thing about them? This might be the one that I felt the most attracted to upon seeing them. I saw this person for the first time in a bar at my uni. They were talking to a lot of girls, and I don't think they remember me, but I remembered them from that interaction before we interacted properly, and they were terrifying. And we did kind of have banter. I did also argue with them, but it was kind of childish, maybe the most bratty and severe and kind of exposed I felt. So I'd say how they looked the first time I saw them. Their secret weapon, they're actually really cocky, but I think they play it off and they know how to chameleon a bit, but I'm not sure I buy it, if that makes sense. There's a bit of like a bravado maybe that I always want to test, but then I do feel like I'm the one that's getting proven wrong, maybe. But it's the most kind of 14 with that one. 14 years old, you know. That maybe I have gotten. Ooh, do I like, love, or trust them? Maybe none of those. Actually, we never hung out that much one-on-one. I was pretty scared of this person. I think this one made me feel very vulnerable, and awkward, and actually, like I felt more like a girl with them. And I'm normally like, I'm like one of the guys that doesn't actually hang out with the men as often. Like long distance one of the guys. Which again isn't special. I'm sure plenty of women are like that. Yeah. Could I call them right now? Would they help if I needed it? I actually saw them recently. I couldn't call them because I don't have the number. And would they help if I needed? I think they actually would. Maybe. It's either they really would, or they'd be a right cunt about it in the moment. Old couple, young couple. I think we'd kill each other if we did young couple. Like, actually kill each other. And I'd be like an exposed nerve ending all of the time. But old couple, I can maybe see the retirement home kind of the sharpness really setting in at the retirement home. Rate the connection out of 100, like a 50, maybe a 58. First last interaction, so fit the first time I saw them, like curly hair, like a Barber jacket, really pretty boy. Last interaction, kind of let himself go. I was thinking, I've let myself go, you know, could we both clean this up together? But we just fucking kill each other. Like, I don't know. What element is the relationship, or like what setting? Maybe like a shallow, wide lake, but the water's kind of clear and the sun is absolutely exposed and we're both burning a little in it. We can't get out of the middle of the kiddie pool, you know? I think we're kind of in the kiddie pool. How surreal. Oh, I've forgotten that. How much do I imagine them in various kind of... I honestly forgot about this one for a while. I forget about this one because I have embarrassing memories with this one. And not embarrassing in like a fun way per se. But there is something exciting about this one too. Exciting as in our dynamic being this way is stimulating. But whether it's any good for me. But it could be. I think this is one where I could see myself being cleaned up, not losing edge, and still having like that spark to fight about stuff. And I think we'd have good bed chem. I've forgotten bed chem. But then I think I would also be I'd just be a massive wanker every time, like massive wanker. Monogamy. No, we'd always try and piss each other off. Because I do kids with them. You know what, weirdly, I feel like we'd have great kids. Yeah. I don't know. Next one. Okay, this one, and then I'm splitting the video up because I'm on 30 minutes. This is like where things kind of started heating up, because I had some kind of sexual stuff happen with the last one. But with this one, I actually did hook up with. So, what colour are they? Maybe like a dusty red, or like a dusty green. Kind of a bit grayed. Favourite thing about them? I think I buy that they would be there for me. And their desire for this kind of old school couple, like 1920s, but kind of Republican thing. It's so different that, you know, and their secret weapon, they're like their photo could be in the pages on the DSM-5 for like male autism. Like their entire family had it as well. That one TV series with the guy like in Silicon Valley with the curly hair, who's like constantly mind reading everything about people. he looks near identical to that. He has autism face, but he's not like the fat, hairy autism guy. You know, like the Dungeons and Dragons type. So I think really perceptive. But then in some ways I think all of the perceptions they made about me were kind of basic, really. And not always right. Or maybe I just don't see myself as clearly always. Because I'm pretty changeable. Do I like, love, trust them? None of them. Do I find them attractive? Yeah, you know what? They're mixed, and there's something, which I know you shouldn't fetishize that, but there's something kind of like old, kind of burnt and smoky, woody, or touch old school about them. But in the same breath, as soon as they shave their beard, they look about 12 to me. Could I call them right now? They help if I needed it. I think this one's kind of manipulative. I think if I rang them for help, I would end up in a situation. I couldn't get help from them without it feeling emotionally laborious to me. So feel free to critique me for that, but I probably wouldn't contact them. I don't have their number either. And I'm not sure they would help. The connection out of 100. Maybe like a 36 or like a 47. I might be pushing it. Last interaction. With this one, it was kind of, I just really wanted to maybe lose my virginity at that point. I got excited about the guy, but then nothing on paper really lined up, which maybe made the sex easier. But it wasn't like polar opposites. It was like, I couldn't picture it at all. Oh. What element is the relationship? Maybe walking in the pitch black kind of night by like a dingy road. But always weirdly trying to force it into like the highest rose garden, the fanciest rose garden in Buckingham Palace. Like a weird kind of combination of the two. Kind of stuffy. Monogamy. I think he'd only want monogamy, but he's also a complete fraud with it because he had more hookups than I did that I wasn't even upset about, actually. There's other people on here that I was very upset about. When I found out that they'd had sex with other people, I was like, you're so late. The idea of me finding you at this point is completely jarring, which God knows what the actual time order of this is, really. But I just think, like, weirdly the most kind of liberal guy in practice, but extremely conservative in theory. I think I'd hate having kids with this person. I would actually feel trapped. And we somehow, I think we could have done a longer relationship when we were sort of seeing each other. But there's nothing scarier than going longer with this one, I think. Okay, I'm going on to the next one.